So we just got done talking about the Horde list, and now we're going to Escape, which the same rules apply. I'll just kind of go over everything as a preface in case you're just coming in exclusively for Escape and you're not really that interested in Horde. I get it, it's all good. But just the whole thing behind this tier list. One, this was inspired by Smite players, and also if you do play Smite, check out some tier lists. Given I know there's a few people that don't make them anymore, and I haven't seen them as much anymore, but either way, go check them out because they've got a really good idea of how to basically make a snapshot of what classes are good in the moment. But one, this is inspired by Smite. Two, these are my personal opinions and where I stand on Escape. I'm gonna put up a shot of all my levels where they are now, because I am continually playing every night to get all my stuff going. These are all just my opinions, and they're going to be wrong, and you're probably not going to agree with them. Also, I am taking into full consideration for me personally that I do not have some classes leveled well. My pilot is underwhelmed. My promotional classes are underwhelmed. There's a few classes that definitely need some love, and I want to see how this evolves over time. So if you do disagree with anything I say, I will have the links for this tier list in the descriptions of my YouTube video. I'll post it on Discord in the Gears of War chat and try and pin it so people can easily access it. I don't know how it's going to work yet. I'll make it readily available anywhere. You can post it as a picture, or if you want to make a video, all I ask is just explain your answers, because if you just come in and say, you know, like, Nomad bad. Why is Nomad bad? It bad. It's trash. It sucks. Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. We don't learn from that. I want to know why you think it sucks. Why doesn't Cherry share my opinions? I'm so mad. Arrgh. I'm so upset. Yeah, but basically, at the end of the day, yes. Tell me what you agree and disagree with. I'm basing this entirely off of Masters level and Incon level Escape. It's primarily been Incon though. Masters generally kind of plays the same, but a little bit trickier. I think that doesn't weigh as strongly in Escape though. I need to play more Masters, but I think that's going to be coming from me doing more, getting my cards leveled and being more prepared for Masters. I think Masters in Escape has more impact than Masters does in Horde. Something I need to get good at, so mainly Incon. That being said, if you play lower level Escape and stuff like that, your results are going to vary with these. And I always throw down the example of Brawler. If you're a Brawler, you can probably tank and tackle through most of everything and be an invincible god on like beginner, intermediate, and stuff like that, especially if you get some of the cards leveled. If you play comfortably on lower levels, don't feel bad. Have fun. We're all about having fun. This is a video game. But if you wanted to make your own video or your own posts explaining what you think is different and what you think is better with a lot of these classes, by all means, I encourage that. I'm really there for it. Another point, don't stigmatize based off of where I put things on the list. Basically, like, I know I've watched people watch tier lists and they take things super seriously. If I throw Anchor in C tier, then people stop playing the Anchor. If the video actually does well. Don't, like, that doesn't mean, like, if you see somebody picking a class that I think is lower tier, don't go and start like leaving. Oh my god, they went and picked combat medic. Oh, I'm out of here. I'm gone. And same thing with, oh, okay, all they're doing is playing the OP classes. This isn't fun. I'm out of here. Like, you know, it basically, don't let that stop you from playing classes. Just, like, honestly, I encourage people to keep playing a flexible amount of classes. That way you can, like, what I love seeing is when people pick a class that generally isn't considered all that good. And again, I just hyperbole, or not hyperbole, just theoretically saying, if like veteran isn't good, for example, I want to see people that just say, you know what, screw that. I love playing as a veteran. I'm going to make it strong and learn how to play it to a mastery level. I think that's fun. I love when people do that. So yeah, basically just don't be toxic about it. And for the developers and stuff like that, this is where I threw this in for Horde as well. The goal of this, looking for balance changes and stuff like that, is to have a nice bell curve. A few classes, like only a couple classes up top that are strong, only a couple classes on the bottom that are weak, and most of everything in the middle here is where you want to have stuff. That way, most of your classes are pretty strong. I also do like what the lead developer of Overwatch nailed it pretty well, where he's like, I want each class to have their own slice of overpowered. I'm paraphrasing it horribly, I'm sure, but that's like his mentality on that, and I've seen that work, at least when I played launch Overwatch. That really worked well. I like that concept, given I know it's probably changed now. I haven't played Overwatch in years, but I like that concept of like, all right, you have enough. each class has their own strong suits and their own sets of weaknesses. If classes don't have weaknesses, then it becomes stale and everybody just picks the strong classes every single time. If everything is weak, then obviously that's not fun because of obvious reasons. And then the last thing I just need to talk about before I get started on the list is exactly what the tiers are at. Starting off the list, that's OP. So this is, I always feel like I need to start with, that doesn't mean, like, everybody tosses around the word OP like crazy. Like I'll watch it on Smite the most. Like this god that's so under-leveled and under-skilled and stuff like that. It does one thing well, man, that Arachne is OP. It's like, no, she's not. You're just getting bodied by her. It's like, that's it. OP means generally for me when it comes to Horde means overpowered. It means like their kit is over bloated. They've got so many different things that work exponentially well to the point where if you don't pick this class, you're doing yourself a great disadvantage. If you're playing on the highest level, it's an absolute guaranteed pick. It's just, all right, who's gonna play as this Infiltrator, right? Or that's what it was for Horde. Like, all right, who's gonna play as this class? It generally means in a lot of other games that character would generally get nerfed. In my case, at least when I think of it with Horde, like Demolitions and Infiltrator were my two OP classes that I put on for Horde. Whenever it came to that, I would rather not see them get nerfed rather than I would like to see more of the other classes get buffed alongside of seeing more stuff that hits their weaknesses. Like I know Demolition has like explosive resistance ends up showing up every once in a while, and a few other things that maybe like, I know that when we see explosive resistance, for example, in Horde, that usually ends up being a detractor. All right, just don't pick Demolitions. This is where you pick something else. I would like to see stuff that still encourages you to pick the Demolitions, pick these OP classes and fight into that weakness. I feel like that's where the balancing will be more fun versus nerfing it into the ground. Like we loved the Hammer of Dawn in Gears 4 and it got nerfed into the ground and then it wasn't fun and then we never used it again unless we just had the power and like it was there for the memes, if anything else. And that sucked. So not nerfing it that hard, if you know what I mean by that. But yeah, S tier is where things are above the focal point of balance, where they have a lot to their kit, borderline bloated kits in cases. They're really strong. If you're going for high level play, then you're probably going to be rolling with a lot of these right out of the gate. They're your main picks, always good go-tos. They have some weaknesses, but generally it's not that big of a deal. They can usually overcome them pretty easily. A tier is going to be like your balanced classes. Their weaknesses really match up well with their strengths. These are where, this is generally where you want your classes to be for the most part. They have a really strong kit. They're fun to play. They've got their really good versatility. However, you can screw it up. Basically is where they have like their clear disadvantages where if you get caught doing something, like the game will check you on it. The game will check you well and you'll get bodied. It's totally possible. B tier is that to a bigger degree. So like where you have a good amount of niche things that class is really good at, but then the weaknesses start outweighing it at this point. Generally, you might need to build a team a little bit more around these classes. They still do okay, but it's something, okay, I have to keep in mind that I don't have as strong of a class as if like we were picking all S tier classes or like OP characters and stuff like that. C class is where they start, like you probably shouldn't play them. They kind of stink, but they do have their situations where they shine. They're like a one-trick pony type of class. They do one thing really well. They definitely need a team built around them to compensate for not having, say, extra damage or extra defense or whatever the situation might be. Ends up being kind of mediocre, but can still be played. Still has versatility, still has its point to be made. And then never play as this. This is really only just for like if the class is straight up hot trash. Like there is no situation where it is good. There's not really any viability to it, or straight up, and this isn't much of a spoiler, but you can't play as Jack in Horde. So like you can't play him. So you can't play as Jack in Escape. That's what I meant. Jack can't be played in Escape. So obviously never play as this because you literally can't. You literally can't. But I will say at least this is kind of starting off with the spoiler a little bit. I think is that the only class I do have and never plays this? Yeah. Okay. I did. I changed my mind on one. After looking at it for a long, hard time. This is the only class and never play as this. And I will say there is no class in Escape that I think is truly OP. I don't think anything is such a comfort pick that you can reliably just hit that button and succeed guaranteed. Some do come close though, and that's where we hit the S tier. Starting off with Infiltrator. Infiltrator is still strong as hell. It's incredibly strong in Horde. It is also very strong in Escape. The reason why I don't think it's same perks in Horde as Escape. The stim tankiness, the shotgun damage is insane. Cloaking and doing the 10 times damage has saved us on many occasions. Whenever there's that one escape with a Swarback that I can never think of the name of. Or if you run into bosses, a matriarch comes in, the hardcore bleed damage, cloak out, boom, hit it. The bleed damage takes care of a big old chunk of health if it doesn't kill it. All around, it is still an insanely strong class. Kate was right. This isn't about you, it's about me. This game is all focused around her former class. Super strong. The reason why I throw it in S tier solely comes down to there is just some maps where it takes a while, or you might not get a shotgun for some time. So you end up being borderline worthless until that point comes. You can still do some stuff and still be versatile. You can still have the cloak. You have a few tools, but without the shotgun there to be your carrying tool, it hurts. Whenever you're just relying on your pistol until you get that shotgun, I feel like I remember both me and Tulu had a moment where I was ready to punch a wall because we ran through an escape and I couldn't find a shotgun to save my life. And I was like, this is stupid. I can't do anything. I feel so powerless without it. That doesn't happen too often though. So that's why it only just gets knocked down a notch to S. Next up, this is the class I really debated going into OP, and I still contemplate it because Nomad is so freaking good for Escape. Now, given so long as you can execute enemies, then you should be good to go. Whoever told me to start using concussive shot, thank you. I don't know why I wasn't realizing that. Because I was like, man, Nomad's a little bit more situational, and I need a retro lancer, I need a lancer, or I got to do the triple hit, execute, or hit, melee, execute. And I can start getting rolling and I can go to town. However, you get that concussive shot, I go, boop, pop you with the bolt talk, one shot, you get stunned, run up to you, get the immediate execution. I have fear on, I have, I get menace. You get menace on, and it reduces your cooldowns like crazy. The fear gets applied, you can usually continue executing on top of that one execution. And it is one of the best lifesavers and my favorite crowd control in the game. This freaking class is nuts. I still have no, I know it's Paddock's class, but I'm like, I don't know why people are so scared of nomads, but okay. Honestly, it has a lot of versatility. It's really fun. You can play it at long range, you can play it at close range. That applies for both Horde and Escape. This class is easily one of my favorites, in the top 3 of my favorite classes in the whole game, and it's strong as hell. Love it, love it, love it. Next up, and another one that I debated going into OP is Anchor. With Anchor, I think that it is the equivalent to the Nomad on the defensive side of things. With the Anchor, that shield is a godsend at so many situations. There's been the amount of times that we just siege onto an escape point just by relying on that shield. The amount of times, me and Tulu were experimenting for a while with certain escapes where there's tons of juvies and he would go high-end shield damage, and then whenever you kill enemies while the shield is up, it'll keep refreshing the cooldowns. I wish I could. I think it wasn't Detour. I gotta remember all the names of the escapes, but we had it to a point where we pushed the juvies back to their spawn, and the shield lasted so long. It was the Detour, okay, where we pushed the enemies back to their spawn, and the shield kept killing them so long that the shield stayed up for the rest of the match. The Anchor is so strong. When you rely so hard on your pistol, and the Anchor is based on the pistol, like it has the bleed damage, it's got you land headshots with the bolt talk. It is a thoroughly versatile class. It's got great tankiness, it's got great survivability, it's got pretty solid damage for escape, and it's got a bleed. It has like everything you want in a tank and a defensive class. Fantastic, thoroughly. Next up, and it's not because of me, but it's because of the people that we play with. Y'all are really good at Brawler, and I'm not. I'm hot garbage with this class, but watching you play it, it was mainly watching Valiant Panda, Dave, and Potato play it. Like, oh my god, it's the getting the tackle damage on, and I saw the tactic, and as soon as I saw it, it was that like I should have had a VA. Like, oh my, why didn't I think of that? It's diving back, running into a Scion to tackle them, diving back, running into them to tackle them. Just keep chopping that wood until they go down, and you get the shield on, and you've got the burning damage applied to everyone. You've always got the if you need to speed up and pick somebody up, you've always got that handy reliability of the train. Even though I struggle to revive people with the train, I've been revived while people are training towards me. They end up saving my life. I'm just hot garbage at it. As well as then you can throw the fire damage on with Pyromaniac. You can throw the active reloads do burning damage, so your snub pistol's relevant in the beginning. Really versatile class. I think it shines a lot more in Escape with how narrow the areas are. You got a lot more juvies that you can quick tackle as well. The only thing that kills me, and probably another reason why it's not OP, is because for me that haymaker is more of a problem than it is a blessing. Like I a lot of times won't charge strong enough with the tackle, and I'll run into something, here we go, and I do the haymaker, and it's the slow-mo just, oh no, as I get at like the speed of the melee gets beat by whoever I'm in front of, and they just punch me once and I go down and I look like an idiot, and then everybody's going, oh my god, Cherry sucks at this game so much, why do we even bother? But y'all do it a lot better than me, if I haven't said that enough. Next up is solely because I knew Pilot was good whenever I forget who else we were playing with. It was me, Tulu, and somebody else. The one person we were playing with died early on. Then I died right as we were hitting the escape room, or like the final area. And then Tulu lived on his own by using it, like literally using the Pilot's ult as a decoy and a decent bit of damage and some freeze, and just lived off of that. If you can get a drop shot in Escape, then you're doing really good. It's versatile, it's tanky, the freeze is always lovely. Like if I had to wrap it up in one word, why is the Pilot so good? Freeze. Freeze. Just that, it saves lives. It frags out while we're at it. It's so good. I need to learn the Pilot because my Pilot is painfully and disgustingly low, but that class is fantastic from what I watch, let alone what I play. Following that is Tactician. This is the last that I've got on the S tier. So like I said, Tulu was right. He guessed 4 S tier classes. I mean, technically you're right, +2. Tactician is solid mainly just because of its versatility. It has the explosive damage that I can do. If you want to roll hammer burst damage, that is pretty viable, and from what I've seen and what I use in Escape. The snub pistol damage never hurt anybody, but you always got that resupply, and that is always dummy helpful. The bleed damage, if you get any explosive weapon, is always going to be dummy helpful. The marks can do really well. Now, given I need to level my class up to get the final card with Tactician, which allows you to marked enemies get additional damage applied to them. It's almost like mark boost back in Gears 4. I still need to get that. The only downside, and it, like, again, another one of those things that kind of pushes it from being OP, is the fact that the explosive reload in the resupply, you have to run back to the Venom, which can be problematic, especially if you're playing with other teammates. I know other teammates, if you don't have comms and they're like, you know, they just want to keep running, or you get those speedrunners and stuff like that, and you go, wait, I don't have boom shot ammo. Can we come back to the, we're so ahead. Can we back it up real quick just so we can get to the Venom? If you're in the Venom, then you're fine, then it's all good. But has a lot of versatility, thoroughly helpful, lots of damage. Love Tactician in any situation. It is good. That is it on the S tier. When we're going to A tier, I give a shout out to the Blade Master here, and I sure as hell hope so, because Blade Master was designed. This was Lonnie's class. I love Lonnie. It was made for Escape. It has a lot more versatility in Escape. The only downside that it's got some really nice perks. It functions a lot better overall in Escape than it does Horde from what I see. The only problem I got is your bleeding damage comes from the Venom. It's that Venom circumstance, because sometimes you are just running so far ahead of the Venom, and then that ends up becoming problematic. Like whenever, oh, we're doing too well. Hey, can we slow down so I can actually do damage? So I can actually be more relevant? But does have a lot of other versatility around it. Again, still want to try a really good banana clip build. just to see how that goes. The movement speed's great. The electroshock is great. The stim that the electroshock provides is great. The stun on it is also a fantastic crowd control. If you chain lightning it to a bunch of different enemies that are crowded up, that can be an absolute lifesaver. All around pretty darn versatile class, but does have its straight up weaknesses where it's not as tanky as an infiltrator. It can get just bopped on the head and taken out. But they do have a lot in place to try and counterbalance that. So basically it's like, if you don't screw up, you'll do really well. Unfortunately, I am very good at screwing up as Blade Master. That's just on me. Next up, okay, me seeing this in A tier, I really debate it going into S, but like I remember I like flipped a coin on this one because marksman for me is super valuable. Or at least being able to snipe enemies and doing well with that. You've got a freeze, you've got the explosive headshot if you need it. The critical damage comes really in handy if you're dealing with scions that don't have shields, yada, yada, yada. Everything that's good about a sniper, it's right there. The two things that I think hold it back is one, your own abilities. So if you're not having a good sniping day, it happens. Two, a lot of times I'm noticing I'm picking up long shots regardless. No, I asked here, I didn't want to break it up too much farther. I feel like it would be weird. It would kind of be in that in-betweener, but I'll keep it here until I really feel it's justified to jump up to S tier. Like, if it does make that jump, I still don't know. But the biggest reason why I don't think that it goes up into S tier, I think this was my thinking when I initially wrote it out too. I am picking up snipers on just about any class right now. Like, my favorite thing to go to right now is I'm picking it up on my Nomad. Like, what, I think we have the end as our daily today. We're gonna play through the end. If one of us doesn't play Nomad, I'll be the Nomad. If we find a long shot, I take that and I have that as a sniper so I can be in the back, and then if I need to run in and blast fear and stuff like that, I can. It's basically like I get a few extra perks from being a sniper, like the X-ray and the explosive headshots and like the freeze damage and a few other things off of being a marksman, but the benefits don't really have their own unique strengths to them in the marksman. It's a good class, and I think if anybody's shown me the good example of that, it would be the Reach Beast. Like, he carried us a little while back while I was getting some cards leveled, and I just watching him snipe out stuff as a marksman on escape was fantastic. If you run into bosses, you're also in some trouble, like a matriarch. You can use the X-ray to try and work that out, but it doesn't beat having the ability to crowd control enemies out with a Nomad, having the tankiness and the bleed and the shield of an Anchor, the burn of a Brawler, so on and so forth, or the bleed damage of an Infiltrator. Like, it's a good class. It can be replaced a lot. At least this time we're not going for, yeah, okay, that's true. The end daily today is not based on time for the weekly, so I got that going for us. Let's see, next up is Gunner, because again, watching Horkulix play it, and just I've actually not really played a whole lot of Gunner in Escape. I'm more basing that off of a lot of what I'm watching other people play as. For me, the biggest thing, you might not always have a heavy weapon, and that's okay. The biggest thing is that ultimate. That ultimate is a lifesaver. It is clutch, and it's honestly one of my favorite ults in the game. I just love it. It's so fun. Just, you start running into some damage, boop, and it just reflects right back. They can be like the front line. If you need to make a siege onto the escape room or anything like that, you just hit that ultimate, everything starts swarming on you, trying to beat the crap out of you. They take the damage back and you laugh at them. They do well with a lot of different weapons. They've got the tankiness all around. It's probably my key representation of like, this is a versatile flex pick. It works really well in a lot of different situations. It's useful in the gatekeepers, yes. All around, I think this is like, honestly, this is probably one of the more fun classes I would imagine for like just trying out a bunch of new things when it comes to Escape. It does have its weaknesses though. I mean, it's the same thing with Horde, where if you're picking up heavy weapons, you're generally going to be the slower moving person. You've got to manage that sucker. You get overexposed a little bit with it. Same problems there. And as well, if you don't have the heavy weapon guns, then it's trying to work on finding them, and you might not be as strong without them. It's like, if you can't find the requirements that you need for the cards that you have, you'll be in trouble, but otherwise, still a great class. And then, Taco, I'm sorry, this is where I'm throwing in Combat Medic. It's the same problems as it has in Horde, where the ultimate's great, the stim on headshots is amazing, And I really like having a sniper rifle on the combat medic, again, for intervention, as well as then it can help with cooldown reduction a little bit, as well as just being in the back line. You're kind of a backline support. At least I like that for a combat medic. I still need to try it out with grenades. I was really trying to get the grenade card to work early on when I was starting out with combat medic, and I just could never find the best situations to have that cooldown reduction running. It was either I was stupid comfortable and I would be like, hey, let's get the grenade going, and combat, like my team revive was already up. It's super versatile. It is always a really comfortable pick to have just for the sake of that team revive. Again, I do think it relies too hard on that team revive. Once that team revives down, you're somebody that just doesn't have a whole lot of damage, and hey, at least you give an AoE stim. It's nice. I think it could be a little bit, if they gave more benefits to just the standard old hit the X button revive, or something, it would just be nice. As well, rest in peace. You don't have any fortifications to upgrade here, that's still one of my favorite cards in the game. It's just that I can team revive and heal stuff. Gets flashbacks on the end. Yeah, I was trying to play as the combat medic on the end, and the team revive would come in handy. Like, it would save us, but it wouldn't save us enough. Versus the better AoE of, like, if you didn't have a nomad on the team, that would be a better team revive in a sense, because that fear can last like a half an hour. Now, I hyperbolize, but it can be nice. Sometimes it doesn't always fully save. There was a lot of times I would team revive and somebody would just be in the muck. They would be in the middle of a bunch of enemies. Thank you for the revive. Get smacked again. Ow, I shouldn't hit my ear. And then just get down immediately again. But at that point, it's like, oh crap, my ult's down. So, well, bye. or I've got to go and try and save you, and I don't have the damage to back it up. And that is what I've got for the A tier. One clutch where the combat medic can come in clutch. That's what puts it in A tier, and it's not like, lower. It has its really great moments. It's just not S tier moments. Yeah, like it comes in handy, and it is literally a lifesaver, just not always. I can't believe you've done this. Into B tier. So this is one I really don't know, because I don't play, like, I threw it in here, but I'm down for opinions on this one especially. I think Demolitions is a little too clutch, or it's a little too, results may vary based off of what escape you're playing. Like, if you can get the explosive damage and pray to God that ammo starvation isn't a modifier, then you can really make that work. However, it is a pain in the neck, especially if you don't have attack with you, to try and really make it work as well as it does in Horde. In Horde, it works disgustingly well. In Escape, it really comes down to how much ammo you got, how many resources you can find, and if you can't find those resources successfully, then you're really just a snub pistol and normal rifle damage and stuff like that. It can work. You got to probably really rely on like good kill and stuff like that, but it doesn't have as much versatility. When I see a Demolitions come into our Escape lobbies, I go, okay, cool, this is some strong, this has the potential for really strong damage, but it seems like it's a lot more condition heavy. Like, oh, if we can get the right situations, the right scenarios to really make the demo work, then they'll frag out and it'll be great. Otherwise, it doesn't seem like it's the strongest pick. I want to experiment with this more though, to make sure I feel right about that. Like, so we're gonna have to try it out at some point soon. I've done a couple Demolitions matches with on Escape. It's been some time, so my memory's a little rusty on that. I would really like more opinions on that, because that one I'm like, everything that it's telling me, it's not as great as, like, I mean, I would pick so many things above it first. Next up is Veteran, kind of for the same reasons. On the Veteran, it's a pretty good choice overall. Like, I think it runs into the same problems as the Demolitionist, maybe to a lesser degree. Like, you can still, the Living Legend is always going to be helpful if you really need to burst down a boss fast. But I don't think, it seems like a class that can be easily replaced in a lot of situations. Like, if you're going to go for the crit damage and be a better sniper, you can probably go the Marksman. You can probably just go like a Nomad and run with the fear. I think it's called Intimidation, when you get a headshot on enemies and it spreads fear, and that CC is going to be great. Running with an Anchor so you can just be comfortably behind your shield and pick off enemies and throw bleeding damage on with the shield. The Veteran does pretty good, but it has a lot of damage. I just don't think it has a great versatility for Escape. It can definitely be used, it can definitely be applied effectively, and as well, not having bleeding damage always ends up being a bit problematic. I really like for me, I see it as being uncomfortable whenever I want to completely unload on everything on the field with my assault rifles and stuff like that when Living Legend goes off. But if I don't have the ammo to back that up, if I'm running an ammo starvation escape, then I think it can be a bit more problematic. That being said, I probably need to try this out and apply it a little bit more, because it could possibly, I think it has some decent possibility of being A tier, but I need to double check myself on that. Maybe there's enough maps that have a lot of ammo on it that you're okay throughout this, and then I gotta try some clutch situations where like there's a whole infestation of like juvies coming at you and you just lay waste to them. It might be better than I think it is. Let's see. Okay, this is my hot take. This is my hot take for today. I think I'm looking at this on paper. I'm looking at how much I'm playing Robotics Expert right now. I have to try this. But this is what I'm thinking. You get a lot of long range weapons. You play them like a sniper. The ult comes up. You get the cooldown reductions for the ult and everything like that. The ult comes up. You got some decent bleed damage. You throw the ult down whenever you're in a tough situation. It's a decoy for a little while and it does decent damage. I think that it can be decently versatile. Obviously, you're going to want to build a team around it to try it out, but I think that it has some viability. I was looking at the cards. I think that it has a shot. And I want to try this out. I haven't. I'm looking at it primarily on paper, but nothing really seems like it would stop it from doing pretty decently well. It's sort of like a semi-sniper with a decoy. I'm curious. I think it can go well. That's all I really got. I want to try it, but I think it's got some viability. And like I said, I'm going to be wrong on some of these, and I'm hoping I'm right. I'm hoping that ends up working, but I think it'll probably just stay at B tier. But I was gonna throw like the engineer classes all and never play this, because why would you play as them? But the more I started looking through the cards, I'm like, you know, I can totally see a lot of this working. Would I choose it over anything in S or A? No. but that being said, I think it can work, and I really want to try that out. And then here we go. So here we are back at this spot, like, right? We only have a few classes left and all of them are promotional. But here we go. I think that Protector has a bit more viability here. The bubble shield can come in handy. Again, I still think that's its main problem, where if the bubble shield you could shoot out of, it would be way more viable, it would be way more relevant, and I think I could easily see this being up to A. The melee damage does great. It has bleeding damage on the melee. I think it has a lot of good stuff around it, given it also does run into the same problem continually of, if you want a melee class, why not go marksman? Why not go infiltrator? Why not, if you want close range, nomad to get the executions? Why wouldn't you go brawler? Why not go blade master? There's so many choices that kind of fill that same gap better than the protector, but it's better than it is in Horde. It's okay. They just, honestly, they need so many more cards, really. And then my last one for B tier, if you can get enough grenades and the slowdown is really helpful on Slugger, it can be pretty helpful. It's a bit more niche, it's a bit more situational, but I think it bodes well. I think it does pretty decently solidly. Given, again, it's another one of those, it's a semi-close range, so anytime I mention the word close range, I go Infiltrator, Blade Master, Anchor, a little bit, Brawler. Like, there's these classes that I would rather take over a Slugger, but at the same time, if you find yourself running into a lot of grenade stuff, you end up, you can really utilize that to your benefit, and it can be really, really helpful. All good things there. Except for, wait, I said all good things just as a general. It's not that great. Shout outs to Sarah Connor and all of that Terminator stuff from Op 1. All the fun, or wait, is that Op 1 or Op 0 technically? Either way, all fun stuff. And now we get to the C tier. The C tier is slightly bit more full. Architect has the same problem that it has in Horde, but worse. Where you have no fortifications or anything to really deal with. So any of the sentry gun cards are taken out. There's basically a one-shot build that you can try. And when I say one shot, I don't mean it kills enemies in one shot. I mean, you got one shot to make it work. Where you can really run with the cloak and you can run with the stim, and there's just enough cards to fit, so you're not throwing in like the score boost and epic score boost and stuff like that, and you can just kind of mash together some like Frankenstein monster style of build with this. There needs to be some wholeheartedly, like, some nice improvements to this would be great. Too much of a risk than a word. It's more, this is the one trick pony that I have in my mind thoroughly, funds, where the best thing that it has is the decoy. And the decoy that it has, I mean, it just throws a straight up hologram decoy, distracts just about all the enemies in its area. It can be a lifesaver, thoroughly. I don't, and it's another form of crowd control. It doesn't beat the Nomad on fear. That trick is good. It is a good one trick. It does help a good bit. She can get a little bit, I say she because it was based off of Cat from Halo. They can be tanky and just be a good body there that gives you a distraction. But anything else versatility wise, it's better to just go with like anything else. Same thing goes with the Striker. Hey, do you want a close range class that can melee? Well, you have some other options that you can work with before you hit this. Like, it's okay if you end up taking down a warden and it's not an invincible warden, then cool beans, you can get that bleed damage on. The explosive damage is cool on the GSD or whatever it's called. It has some use, but it is so super niche. I think it works better in Horde than Escape, and I don't even think it works great in Horde either. I think this is way more of just a niche pick that it just doesn't do really well. Like, the stim can be pretty good for a lifesaver, but otherwise, like, just go Blade Master, just go Infiltrator, just go something else first. Unless you gotta level it, you know, if you gotta level it, you do what you gotta do. But otherwise, eh. And then finally, I thought this was gonna go into never play as this. I had it until I went back and thought about it for a while. There's enough cards in place with the amount of enforcers that are in the game and the amount of DB weapons that you can utilize that you can make that look okay. Notice how the tier list looks like an F. Yeah, F's in chat, everybody. Thank you. It needs more. If we had more classes, it could fill out the never play as this and worse, I guess. Mechanic could possibly work. If it had a better alt, I think that you could possibly throw it in cahoots with the robotics expert. But it doesn't have a whole lot of cards at play. It doesn't have a whole lot of damage in play. It's just super duper niche when it comes to Escape. And it's one of those, why would you do that? If it had like a bolt talk or a better pistol weapon, that would be one thing too. But I just don't think it has a whole lot of strengths to make it worthwhile. If you're trying to play seriously, if you're having fun, do whatever the hell you want. Why are you watching a tier list? But you know, at least it doesn't seem like it has a ton of things to really work with. And then last but not least, I'm just gonna make a quick comment about Jack. Okay, Coalition, listen here. This is what happens. I gotta read this real quick. You just make a cinematic. Jack ends up just flying around. He looks left, he looks right, kind of like you do in the beginning of Escape, right? It kind of does a shutdown, like a Windows XP, da-na-na-na, and just bunks down on the ground like it just died. A Snatcher walks up to it, kind of confused. It heard the noise, it's looking around, and it goes, huh, what the hell's that? And it picks it up. Boom. Jack and Escape. Let's make it happen, okay? That's what I want. But that is where my tier list stands at the moment. Like I said in the beginning, I know a lot of this is probably not going to be right, but that's what I like about tier lists. This is just a snapshot of where I think things are, and I wanted to get this established now. And as I keep going into regularly uploading videos on the Gears channel again, I can keep referring back to this list and see if I want to change things as we keep getting more experience. I wanted to do this for Gears 4, but I could never really think of enough things to really say about them. Like I could have photoshopped some pictures of like, oh, the grenade planting soldier is A tier. Like, you know, I could have tried it, but it was just too cheesy. Thanks to TC for breaking out and making this many classes for Horde to allow me to do something like this. And again, if you have any opinions on like disagreeing or agreeing with what I threw down, just make a picture, send it to me, post it on Twitter, Instagram, wherever the hell you want to go. I'm on all platforms. Just explain your answer is all I got. I would just like, let me know what you're thinking. I think for me, as I'm still learning a lot of these classes and getting things rolling, that's going to be hyper valuable to me. Like I said in the Horde video, I think it was, maybe I mentioned it earlier in this video too, it's been a while. Midget with the veteran showed me what's up. Whenever all of a sudden, Midget and Potato in particular, when they show me, yeah, run a Retro Lancer, yeah, run a long shot. Get the cooldowns down fast, the headshot damage negates execution rules, does tons of damage, wipes out enemies like crazy, and all of a sudden my veteran went to being one of my favorite classes to play. Whenever I wasn't all that enthusiastic about them before I left and after I left. I wasn't all that crazy about veteran until somebody showed me what's up. I think that goes for all of the classes too. Like if anybody's got great advice on how to play, like, I don't know, a slugger. I saw somebody play slugger pretty well and it got me semi-inspired by that. Anybody's got advice on any of these things, let me know. I'm trying to learn and absorb all these things, and I'll adjust the tier list as we keep going on. That's what I'm hoping for with all of these. Just as time goes on, I'll keep revisiting these, I'll show what adjustments we made and go from there. But either way, if you enjoyed it, do the like, sub, bell thing. I will update this as soon as I can, and we'll keep making videos and have fun with this. Thank you for watching, and everybody that's in stream, thank you for chilling out while I was doing all these. Woo!